Today, we're looking at Diamine's Eclipse. Hi, I'm Adam, and I'm an ink guy. I get inks, test them, and share the results with you. Now, Diamine's Eclipse is a great blue-black ink. To make sure I have a range of experience with this ink, I do the writing samples. I then put the ink into a different pen for a day. I then put it into a Noodler's Nib Creeper to take my notes for this video. But before we get to the writing samples, let's look at the sciencey bits. Up first is a chromatography, and I agree with Vita that I've learned a lot by doing multiple chromatographies. The one on the left is done the way it's supposed to be done. I put a line of ink down, and I immediately put it in the water for 10 to 15 seconds. Now we see a kind of medium blue. We see a little bit of permanence on that first line. A light blue pushes up, and it becomes super dark, and then we get even the black across the top. Very nice. The one on the right, I let dry for 10 minutes before I put it into water. Now, we don't get that light blue area. It is dark blue all the way up and a darker blue at the top and black across the top of that. I suspect this is going to be quite permanent to deal with. Resistance tests are done to see how this ink can be expected to perform on the page, and more importantly, how hard this ink might be to clean from your pens. I let the smear dry for 3 days before testing it. Looking at the highlighter, a very surprising result is how much it feathered and spread all over the place, how blurry the writing became. It makes me a little nervous to use this in a note-taking situation if I had a need to highlight, so I might avoid it for that reason. Now, water completely reactivates and pulls up all of the darkest parts of the ink, leaving only a light blue behind, but it's still there. Pen flush does everything that water does, but if you look, we start to see in the pen flush area white of the paper coming through. So I don't think water is going to take everything off the paper, but I believe, or out of your pen, but I believe pen flush will do it and get it all out without a problem. Bleach is completely removing it from the page except for some yellow staining that's left behind. But I think flush is as far as you're going to need to clean this out of your pens. For the inks I've tested, I've found an average viscosity of 2.5, with the realm of normal being from 2.1 to 2.9. Diamine's Eclipse has a viscosity of 2.24, which makes it absolutely normal. Fantastic. To find my average dry times, I use my writing samples done with the extra fine and medium nib on Clairefontaine, Tomoe River, and Rhodia paper. Diamine's Eclipse has an average dry time of 19 seconds, which makes it very normal. It's the higher side of normal, but it is normal. Now, let's look at the writing samples. I picked this ink up in sample form, and to keep my writing samples consistent, I use a Jinhao 159 with a Goulet 1.1 stub, a Jinhao X450 with a Goulet medium, and a Jinhao X750 with a Goulet extra fine. Let's look at the Clairefontaine. We have no bleeding, no ghosting. The 1.1 gives no feather, no spread, no halo, no sheen, no shade. It is a very dark, dark, dark blue that barely shows any of the blue through this blue-black. The extra fine. No feather, no spread, no halo, no sheen, no shade, 14 seconds to dry. And the medium has no feather, no spread, no halo, no sheen, no shade, 18 seconds to dry. The scrubby shows us we're not going to get any color variation. We didn't get any color variation. This is the first hint of the blue to the blue-black we get is when we smear it. Now you could recover this if you smear it. There we go. You could recover this pretty easily, but it is a very, 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 very dark blue. Tomoe River. No bleeding. Yes, we get ghosting, especially with the dark inks. The 1.1 has no feather, no spread, no halo, no sheen, no shade. That's black. But now to the very, 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 very dark, extra fine blue. No feather, no spread, no halo, no sheen, no shade, 21 seconds to dry. The medium, no feather, no spread, no halo, no sheen, no shade, nothing. Nothing. And it's almost that black again, 26 seconds to dry. Now the scrubby shows us that we're not going to get any color variation. We didn't. The smear test says we're likely not... Oh, hold on. No. I stand corrected. I think you could recover this on Tomoe River if you're careful. I think you could recover that. We don't get that very often. Rhodia paper. No bleed, no ghost. The 1.1. Very, 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 very dark. Again. No feather, no spread, no halo, no sheen, no shade. It is an eclipse of the blue. Extra fine. No feather, no spread, no halo, no sheen, no shading. It is a noticeably lighter tone than the 1.1. It took 16 seconds to dry. The medium is a noticeably darker tone. It has no feather, no spread, no halo, no sheen, no shade, 19 seconds to dry. The scrubby for both show us no color variation. We didn't get any kind of color variation, and you could definitely recover this smear. So, keeping on that yellow Rhodia kick, no bleeding, no ghosting. That's expected. It didn't lighten it up. It didn't lighten it up at all. But the smear, where we get to see blue, looks kind of purpley. The 1.1 has no feather, no spread, no halo, no sheen, and no shade. The extra fine, no feather, no spread, no halo, no sheen, no shade, 16 seconds to dry. The medium, still no feather, no spread, no halo, no sheen, no shade, 19 seconds to dry. A noticeably darker tone than we got with the extra fine, which is noticeably lighter than we got with the 1.1. This is the same results we got with the white Rhodia. This is a strong color. Strong. The scrubby for both show us no color variation. We didn't get any kind of color variation, and the smear test says you could likely recover it. So I tested black and red paper, which is really performing very well. No bleeding, no ghosting. The 1.1 has no feather, no spread, no halo, no sheen, no shade. It's just, this whole one makes me go, I really don't look forward to just using it for a whole day. I like blue-black ink. It's just, Extra fine, noticeably lighter tone, no feather, no spread, no halo, no sheen, no shade, 11 seconds to dry. The medium, a noticeably darker tone with no feather, no spread, no halo, no sheen, no shade, 19 seconds to dry. The scrubby for both shows us no color variation, and we got no color variation. The smear test says you could likely recover it. Original Crown Mill, so it's a laid paper. No bleeding, no ghosting. The 1.1 has no feather, no spread, no halo, no sheen, no shade. I like blue-black, and this is just a boring blue-black. Noticeably lighter tone with the extra fine, no feather, no spread, no halo, no sheen, no shade. 9 seconds to dry. The medium gives us no feather, no spread, no halo, no sheen, no shade, 12 seconds to dry. The scrubby gives us no color variation. We didn't get any, and I don't believe you could recover the smear if you did smear it. That's all. I mean, I realize I'm always much faster at this part when I don't care for the ink as much. That's all I have for the writing sample. Instead of finding inks that look like Diamine's Eclipse, I would prefer to find an ink that complements its color on the page. I've chosen Private Reserve's Shoreline Gold because it's a great orangey red ink that is a fantastic contrast, complement, if you will, to this very dark blue-black ink. Before I give my opinion on this ink, I would ask, if you've enjoyed this video, give it a thumbs up. And if it's your first time here, I would invite you to subscribe. So what do I think of Diamine's Eclipse? I have to start by saying I love blue-black inks, but I'm really particular about my blue-blacks. I don't want a blue-black that's blue or a blue-black that's black. I want a blue-black that's blue and black. This one is a little too black for me. In almost every nib, it wound up being quite a bit too dark and almost never being able to see any of the blue that was there. Now, there's a lot of great blue blacks, and for those that like this ink performs fantastically. but it's just too dark a blue-black for me. Thanks for watching.